Hi everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and you're listening to We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or wanting to revisit an old classic, let us be your guide through the infinite list of TV shows.
So come join us every Friday as we discuss the pilot for a TV show while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storylines.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, where your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello everyone, welcome back to our pod.
Hello, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a while.
Well, yeah, since we last recorded, yeah.
Yeah, because I have been on a 3-week travel bender.
Yeah.
Got back Friday, early morning from a work trip for a week-long work trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was essentially in a coma from Friday until Sunday because I had been on a 3-week travel like nonstop. So
yeah,
I have a week break.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. This whole, I think we said it on another episode that pretty much since the second half of December, it's felt pretty nonstop since like Christmas until this is really the first time you've kind of been able to kind of slow down and take a break, and you're at home for 9 days straight, which is the longest stretch you've been home since the year started.
I know,
which
it's
is crazy.
It's crazy.
Okay, so this is our last episode of the month.
Yes.
We are concluding Sports Month with a show that this is the oldest show. Yeah, the oldest show of the three, but still not that old.
Yeah, no, not even a decade old.
We are talking about Glow today, which was a show we had already seen. We'd already watched it all the way through. We were one of the many fans that were not happy when it got canceled.
Oh, yeah, I was mad.
Because they completely set it up for a season 4. They even started, you're going to read here that, they even, filmed a little bit or were in, pre-production or something like that, and then it just got canceled.
Yeah.
And that sucks, but we are going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff, and then we're going to tell you what you're going to expect from us in March.
All right.
So let's start off with what we always do, Anna giving us some episode and series information.
All right, Glow pilot. Glow was an American sports comedy drama that premiered on Netflix on June 23rd, 2017, and ended on August 9th, 2019. The series ran for 3 seasons and has a total of 30 episodes. The series was created by Liz Flahive and Carly Minch. Flahive was a writer and producer for shows like Nurse Jackie and Homeland. Minch was also a writer and producer for shows like Weeds and Orange is the New Black. Glow is loosely based on the real-life Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, a women's professional wrestling promotion that began in 1985. The series serves as a fictionalized version of the wrestling circuit, portraying its early years, including its formation and entry into mainstream popularity. The series stars Allison Brie as Ruth Wilder, also known as Zoya the Destroyer, a struggling yet passionate actress. Betty Gilpin as Debbie Egan as Liberty Bell, a former soap actress and Ruth's former best friend. Sidel Noel as Cherry Bang, also known as Junk Chain, a former stunt woman who also serves as the head trainer. Brittany Young as Carmen Wade, also known as Machu Picchu, a gentle yet talented athlete who comes from a wrestling family. Mark Mann as Sam Sylvia, a film director who takes on the role of the director for Glow. Britt Barron as Justine Biaggi, also known as Scab, a young punk rocker who seems to be fixated on Sam. Kate Nash as Rhonda Richardson, also known as Britannica, a British woman who was homeless before joining Glow. Gail Rankin as Sheila the She-Wolf, an odd asocial woman who identifies spiritually as a wolf. Kia Stevens as Tammy Dawson, also known as the Welfare Queen, an African-American woman who struggles with playing an offensive stereotype while also feeling empowered by her persona. Jackie Tone as Melanie Rosen, also known as Melrose, an aspiring actress, party girl with a wealthy background. And Chris Lowell as Bash Howard, the heir to a massive food empire, Glow's producer, as well as the promotion's ring announcer and commentator. Well-known actors such as Elizabeth Perkins, Horatio Sands, Annabelle Sciorra, Patrick Renna, and Gina Davis would make guest appearances throughout the series. Glow was praised by critics and audiences alike for its quirky humor, talented ensemble, and realistic portrayal of women in sports. The series would go on to be nominated for a total of 18 Primetime Emmys, including wins for production design and stunt coordination. Gilpin was nominated 3 times for Outstanding Supporting Actress, and Brie was nominated twice for a Golden Globe, but neither ever snagged a win. The series was renewed for a 4th and final season, and production began in February 2020, but was shut down a month later due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The series was ultimately canceled. You can currently watch the entire series on Netflix.
I remember being like legitimately mad that they canceled the show, because I remember being so excited that they got renewed for a season 4, and I was like, cool.
And I'm trying to honestly think of how season 3 ended. I think it really set up a season 4.
Yeah, well, it kind of set up for them having like the televised version of the Glow, that the real life Glow that we're all familiar with, the televised version of it, rather than just like, I think they were a live show in Vegas in season 3, because Gina Davis was like their producer and stuff. I just remember being like, I mean, you know, COVID did a lot of terrible things, and you know, it's not like a show's cancellation was the worst thing to happen, but I just remember like just being, you know, really,
because we
really
were
bummed
really into
that like it got. I mean, it was one of the few shows that like, especially newer shows that have come out where we'll watch the first season, and then if the second season comes out, a lot of times like we just won't continue watching the show. We'll just be like, all right, we'll get to it, and then it just didn't stick with us enough. But I guess Glow made a big enough impression on us because we kept actively watching anytime the new season came, when season 2 and 3 came out. So yeah, I mean, like it was just a bummer. Yeah, it was just a bummer when it got canceled. But I mean, I kind of, because we really never went back and rewatched it.
No, not after it was canceled.
Yeah, we've
never come back to it.
Which is very unlike us.
Yeah.
And going back and rewatching this pilot, I was just like reminded of not realizing that all of these characters were all introduced in the first episode. Like maybe I didn't realize that. Maybe I just kind of forgot like the chronology, like the kind of the order in which things happened. But yeah, I kind of forgot that like just about every character,
minus guest appearances,
right,
of course,
every like main character that appeared throughout the series was like, other than Bash, I don't think he was in the episode, but other than him, like I'm pretty sure like everyone was in the first episode, which I mean, you know, that's shows you how good of a cast you have, that you kept your original cast for 3 seasons is pretty impressive, especially for like a big ensemble like this. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into the plot summary, because I'm going to tag in these questions as we read the plot summary, because
all right,
a lot of the questions have a lot to do like with the plot of the, you know, the pilot, so it's going to be a lot easier just to ask questions throughout the plot summary this time. And, you know, kind of change things up a little bit.
Change it up, mix it up. All right. Let's do it.
All right, so Glow pilot plot summary. A woman, Ruth, is auditioning for a part. She performs the part enthusiastically, only to be told she was reading the mail roll.
Yeah.
And her part is of a secretary telling her boss that his wife is on line 2, and then that's it. She is thanked for her time and leaves. It's not put in here, but Ruth is then waiting. She's like just kind of sitting in a bathroom stall, and she hears someone walk in, and I guess she recognized the feet because it was the casting director.
Yeah.
She was waiting in the bathroom for one of the casting directors to come out, specifically Mallory, who seems to know Ruth, the one who's kind of always calling her, letting her know, you know, like I have a something
Part
for you.
for you,
So yeah, that she so she goes to Mallory and she complains that she is like often brought in to read for a part but is never cast. Mallory explains that directors often tell her that they want someone real, so she brings in Ruth to show them that that isn't what they want, which is kind of a harsh, harsh truth.
It's sort of a backhanded compliment, like not compliment, insult. Like, you are real, and that's not what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
She suggests to Ruth that she might be good for one of her experimental programs, perhaps erotica, if that's something she's interested in. And Ruth says she wants a real part but doesn't get anywhere. All right, so, I mean, I could kind of say that, I mean, there are a lot of people that do porn, but I think that would be, not like a job that people aspire to. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I always think of the really funny Tina Fey, Amy Poehler Golden Globes opening monologue.
Yeah.
When she's talking about Anne Hathaway having the camera really close to her face, and Amy Poehler's like, so she wouldn't make it in porn. And Tina Fey replies, don't think she has any plans to do porn, Amy. And she's like, well, no one plans to do porn. And so, right, it's kind of like this situation. Like, at what point do you get to that point to do porn?
And I mean, like, some people, they get to a low point maybe, but this kind of just tags into the question of, in your mind, what was like a really low point in your life where you just kind of took a job and it sucked, but like you had to do it, you had to work there, you needed the money.
Oh, I will absolutely say it was my job at Maison Blanche. Mm-hmm. And not that it was a bad job in retail, because, I mean, there were managers there, people who had business degrees that were managers. And it wasn't like I was out on the streets doing anything. It wasn't illegal, of course. But it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I think I was looking at it from a perspective of, I was a college graduate. I had been teaching high school. I was a professional. And actually, by that point, I had my master's degree as well. And I was kind of feeling like, and I'm now working in retail at a cash register. And again, not that there's anything wrong with it. I loved Maison Blanche. I stayed there for 3 years.
Right.
They were very good to me. But at that point, when I was applying for jobs, I was applying for anything, because when I had moved home to New Orleans, there were just not any jobs teaching Spanish for me. There just wasn't. And it was really hard to kind of take that in and go, what have I done? I'm like so specialized, I can't even find a job. And it was really hard when I first started and I got out on the floor, people would ask, oh, well, what do you do? And, why are you here if you are a teacher? And, so those were kind of, I don't want to say embarrassing, because that's not the right word either, but it was really humbling that, I have always said, I will take a job to make money as long as it's legal. And it's true. I would have gone to work at a restaurant. I applied at Claire's. I applied, back in the day, I think Eckerd's was still around. I had applied at Eckerd's. But I was applying anywhere that would like take an application, because I really needed the money. And so, that was probably it. Being a college graduate, applying for just like a basic retail job. It was very humbling for myself, and like, okay, college doesn't fix everything. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I've had a lot of points in my life to where I desperately needed a job, or I was like struggling financially. I mean, we all go through, spats like that in our lives. And there was just a period of my life where things were especially rough for me financially. It was when it was after Mary Jo died, and I was living in that apartment by myself. And I mean, like, it was just, I had a roommate for like a short period of time, and then that didn't work out. So then I was on my own again. And then the whole thing at one of the restaurants that I had been working at wasn't working out there. And so I kind of quit before I was going to get fired, kind of thing. And I didn't have a job. I had just begged my landlord not to evict me. My parents gave me some money to help me out, and so I wouldn't get evicted. And I basically, it was like 24 hours to find a job. It was just like I had to find a job. And when you kind of go through the cycles of the restaurants, you can't just apply anywhere. And so I kind of had to like apply to places that weren't connected to the places that I worked at previously. And so I kind of had to go like outside of Baton Rouge. So there was places hiring like in Ascension Parish and Livingston Parish. So I applied at a few places via Craigslist. And
Wow.
and it was 2014. And I finally get a call from someone, and it was at a restaurant that I ended up working at for about a year, I think, maybe a little over a year. And it was like they called me and they were just like, yeah, so do you want to come in for an interview? And I was like, yeah. She's like, when you come in? I was like, I can come in now. Or now, maybe. I was just
Yesterday,
like,
yeah.
And she was just like, oh, okay, yeah. I'll be here until like 5 or something like that. It was maybe like 1:30. I think I got there at like 2:15.
Was this for a server position?
Yes.
Okay, because needed money.
I needed instant cash. I couldn't wait for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And which, yeah. And so,
that makes a difference. I mean,
it
at
does.
least, I'm not going to lie, like, at least in your position,
mm-hmm.
you could have had instant
Yeah.
cash by being a server and getting tips.
Yeah,
I mean,
because at this point, like, I had enough money to sustain me for like 3 days. Like, it was just like I had like I had spent the last of the cash that I had on me to get I'll never forget this, to get a pound of meat, a bag of rice, a couple of gravy packets, and a big bag of dog food for Maggie.
Aww.
And that was like, I was like, all right, this is going to be what I'm eating for the next however many days until I get, more. I think maybe I got some like ramen packets or something like that. And I was like, this is what's going to sustain me for however long. And I had a full tank of gas. And then I had like I remember I had a Visa gift card that still had like $20 on it or something like that. I was like, I got to use this for gas. Like, I have to save this for gas. Luckily, I had a small car that had great miles per. It was like 30 miles to the gallon. So it was like I had a great little car, and that helped me out because the restaurant I worked at was not close to my house. So it was a good like half-hour drive from my house. So it was just like, it was that too. But I remember I trained for like maybe 3 days or something like that, and they were like, so wait, it was like I went to my first day of training like the following day after I got interviewed. And they're like, so when can you come back? I was like, I can come back tomorrow. And they were just like, okay, is the day shift or the night shift good for you? And I'm like, if I work a double, well, I'll just be done with training. And they're just like, yeah. I'm like, can I work a double?
Dang.
And they're just like, and she was, I mean, probably in the back of her head, she's like, this dude needs money. And so I'm just like,
right.
And she was like, she loved it because, I mean, like, when you need money, you're going to work. So, I mean, like, and that's what I did. And so I remember, like, I got put on the schedule for, like, the next, like, I had to wait, like, 2 days, and then I was, like, put on the schedule, like, as a server. I remember that first night, I made, like, $200 or something like that. And I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, I finally have money. I was like so it was like I remember like calling my mom and just being like, okay, I think I'm going to be okay. It was just like, I think I'm going to be all right.
Were you a server the whole time you worked there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know which place I'm talking about?
I'm thinking it's the GS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. Good job.
Yeah.
All the places I've worked at, you kind of know which places I'm talking about.
I vaguely remember parts of, like, because M is the place that you were about to lose your job and you just went ahead and quit or whatever. Yeah.
There's going to be like 2 people that listen to this that know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, so that's probably the one that I remember most, just because I remember like going the first time I went back to George's. I remember that was another era where I was like, that was when I was like, I need a steady paycheck. That was when I finally like kind of got my head above water, and I've been working off of tips for like 2 years at this point. No, less than that. It was like, because I met you in 2016. I went back in 2015. So yeah, it had only been like a year, maybe a little over that, like a year and a half. And yeah, so by that point, I was like, I need a steady paycheck because I can't do tips anymore. And then that was when I was kind of like, yeah, steady paycheck. I'm just going to keep doing that. And I never went back to serving.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, when I met you, it was still really hard on you.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's one of the things that people don't really understand. And I know we're getting a little bit off topic from the TV show, but about really any job, like especially acting.
Not
I
at
mean,
all, because she's Ruth is in a financial situation where she's calling her parents asking for money so her phone doesn't get cut off and her power doesn't get cut off. And
yeah, and I mean, I just feel like even the restaurant industry has people struggling because you know, people who work on tips aren't paid a steady wage. And sure, one night you might make $200 or $300 and then it just might be a slump and you
50.
make $15 or whatever for a few nights. So it's hard to budget that way. It's hard to live. And I mean, I remember even when you had made the decision to leave George's and go into fast food management, it was a relief because you had a steady paycheck, you had some perks and time off, and those things were very helpful to you. And, you know, then, you know, you went back, but under better conditions.
Right.
So, you know, at least that one move to fast food management gave you a leg up later. So,
yeah. But yeah, anytime we're watching something and it's about someone who's like truly struggling financially, it always kind of brings me back to like different eras of my life that like, it's like you couldn't pay me to relive those moments of my life, but at the same time they were so much of like what has made me who I am now. Just kind of knowing that like, okay, you're going to get through this. Just kind of having that like mentality of just like, you're going to be okay. It sucks right now, but you're going to be fine at some point. Like things are going to get better at some point. Like that's, you know, kind of what I always have to like remind myself, being like, that's where I definitely began developing that mentality. And when you're an aspiring actress or actor and you're constantly auditioning and constantly getting rejected and struggling to keep up a job, because I mean, I've heard so many actors talk about like, oh, well, I had to not go to a shift so I can go to an audition and I got fired. So then like, you know, because they don't care that I want to be an actor, I didn't show up for my shift. So like there's also that aspect that I don't think people think about, because it's like ultimately if you want to become an actor, you kind of have to like sacrifice a lot. And, you know, we see that Ruth lives in a shitty apartment. She doesn't date. She has chosen her career, which brings us into the scene that we both got a kick out of because of that aerobics wear.
Yep.
Ruth heads to an exercise class, joining halfway through. There she chats with her friend Debbie, telling her how the casting director offered her porn, which Debbie doesn't think she should do unless it's porn Shakespeare, which was funny. Anytime Betty Gilpin talks, I'm expecting her to talk like she did in The Hunt, and when she doesn't talk like the girl from The Hunt, I'm always just like, oh yeah, I forgot. She doesn't actually have that accent. Ruth tells her that she doesn't even know if she can pay her gas bill, having eaten cinnamon toast crunch for her last 6 meals, kind of like my ground meat, rice, and gravy, which still to this day is one of my ultimate comfort foods. Debbie tells her the story of her own acting career and how she found a man who would support her. Ruth says she chooses work. Debbie asks if she wants to have a family, but Ruth replies to do that, she would first have to have a boyfriend. So you wanted to talk about that aerobics wear for a second?
Sure.
Oh, I thought you brought that up while we were watching the episode.
I did. Like, I totally remember 80s aerobics wear.
Yeah.
It was the thing. I mean, I remember.
So was that when
like Jane
exercise
Fonda
wear became like fashion?
Oh, yeah.
Is that when that started? I always kind of wondered that. Yeah.
It was like you had on tights that were like colored with the leotard over it, with a belt, and then you might have had like leg warmers on, and then some sort of like headband, or your hair in like a poofy scrunchie. You know, it was the thing. And that was all the Jane Fonda era.
Yeah.
I mean, her famous aerobics, I think it was like an album where she has like her legs kicked up, and, you know, it's very famous. I can honestly say I don't think I had any like official aerobics wear like that. I wasn't really into aerobics in the mid 80s. I mean, you know, it just I kind of did it maybe with AOPI in the chapter room, but we were just all in like boxer shorts or like a t-shirt or something. But that really brought me back to that era of aerobics becoming a thing and it evolving into like a whole culture of fashion, exercise, health. That was when you started seeing like Suzanne Summers and the Thigh Master.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember that.
I'm gonna say it, and maybe you can remember. It was that guy that was like the boxer. Tybo, yes, the infomercials.
I knew you were about to say it because I was just like, if you're gonna say the guy, I'm about to.
Yes,
be like,
it was Tybo. I mean, it was just.
We did that in PE.
Yes, it was just the culture of exercise and aerobics really came into its place in the mid 80s. So I totally remember all of this happening. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it until just now that like there was just a moment or a point whenever, because now it is so common to see people walking around town in their
leggings,
in their workout clothes. But that wasn't really a thing until the 80s. I guess I never really thought about that. Yeah. That was, I mean, obviously, I was barely alive.
Well, so. I'll even say the leggings became a thing of like the leggings that I wear when we go to the gym and I'm walking on the treadmill. Like that wasn't like considered proper outerwear until like maybe the early 2000s. I mean, people would look at you, and now you see it. I mean, we talk about it now about people wearing it on airplanes and that people are too casual. And I'm like I don't want to dress up on an airplane. It's too hot and crowded sometimes. So yeah, it's crazy how exercise fashion. I mean, then you have companies and celebrities, Vuori, Lululemon. I mean, we see our pal Lauren Norris, modeling her brand deals that she gets from the exercise, Aloe, all of those. So yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. I guess I never really thought about it. Yeah. But it all had to start somewhere, and Jane Fonda, and I always want to say Buns of Steel, but that's not Jane Fonda. Hers was like jazz, or no,
it was aerobics.
They didn't have like a name.
No, not really. I don't think so.
Jane Fonda workout.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, the Jane Fonda workout.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right, so after aerobics, Ruth heads home and starts to get ready for bed, then discovers a light blinking on her answering machine. It's Mallory, who tells her about an audition, one that is looking for unconventional women. She says that she'll have her girl follow her up with the details and that it's not porn, and then also tells her, don't follow me to a bathroom ever again. Ruth chuckles with delight, and that morning she heads out for the audition at a place called, is it Chavo's Boxing Gym. There she finds a large group of other women in the bleachers and joins the group. She talks with another woman asking if they've started the audition yet. She asks her if she's SAG, and the woman replies that she's part Cherokee.
Yeah, it was cute.
A man, Sam Sylvia, greets the group, saying that he'd do anything. He tells them not to talk, just to look at him and smile. A woman he knows, Cherry, asks him what they're doing here. If it's another one of those trashy vampire movies. He says that it's Glow, a wrestling television show. Did you ever watch wrestling?
I'm not going to say I watched wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the days of like Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And that also kind of starting maybe in like the mid 80s. I remember kind of MTV and some of the shows on Saturdays would have it. But as like knowing who wrestlers were, no, not officially.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew Hulk Hogan because he was pretty much like the biggest star of his era, but I did not watch wrestling. I couldn't tell you much about it. I probably felt like it was fake, and so I wasn't really interested. Did you?
Well, in the 90s, wrestling was pretty big in the 90s when I was growing up as a kid, and it was Royal Rumble, tag team, all of those phrases and words that I remember, and I remember knowing who people were. I don't ever really remember actually watching wrestling. I just always knew who everyone was. I knew who the Undertaker was. I knew like Mankind and The Rock and all of these, even like I remember like the IRS man. Like I remember all these like random wrestlers, but I think it was because I played wrestling video games.
Oh,
I think that's why I remember these, because I like look back and I'm like, I don't think I've ever watched like more than like a minute of wrestling ever in my life. I think the most wrestling I ever watched was us watching Glow. If I'm gonna be completely honest, but no, I definitely knew all of the catchphrases and
probably the only other one that I knew was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That
was the 90s
one.
one. Yeah, he was the
yeah,
other
the
one.
90s. I'm not saying it was like you could probably say the 90s was like maybe the biggest era of wrestling, or at least that's where like the most iconic wrestlers came from, other than like Hulk Hogan and what was his name, Vince McMahon. Yeah,
he was the caller. The announcer.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, I think I had a wrestling video game on like Sega Genesis, and it was, I don't even remember it really being like that great of a game. I think I just had it for some reason. And but yeah, that's about the extent of it. I love that when wrestlers become actors.
Oh yeah,
I always enjoy that.
John Cena,
Dave Bautista.
Yes,
he's great. But that's pretty much it. So something that I completely did not realize that I did not put in here is so Ruth is having sexual relationship with a man.
Yeah.
And he is married, but we don't know who he's married to. There was a scene at some point. I can't believe I didn't put that in here.
I know. I was wondering. Okay.
It's right here. It's right here. I've said it so casually that I forgot that I typed it. Okay. All right. He says that the director guy, he says that it's a wrestling show, and it's called Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and he says that it's a wrestling show and they will actually have to wrestle on cable television viewed by thousands of people. He suggests that anyone with a problem doing a wrestling show may leave. About half of the girls leave. A large group leaves, but a fair few still remain. Sam congratulates them on making it through the first round of cuts. They will now give out their headshots as well as sign a waiver. A group of women present to him, some more promising than others. Finally, when it's Ruth's turn, he asks if she's a real actor, and she lays out her qualifications. She asks how much actual acting there will be on the program as opposed to hair pulling, admitting that she doesn't really know wrestling. She asks if he's hiring actors to play wrestlers or if they're going to be wrestlers, to which he replies yes. He says that she has a face that changes, and he's not sure whether or not she's pretty, which this guy just berates her constantly throughout the episode. Really the only one. That night, she finds herself back at home asking a friend on the phone to wire her $200. She says she got a call back and hangs up. Someone knocks at her window, a guy. She tells him to go, but he says that she didn't want anyone to find out about them. As it turns out, he's cheating on his wife, and she no longer wants anything to do with him. She tells him to go home to his family. He pleads with her, saying that people like them need attention and sex too. His argument works, and they end up together doing the deed.
Oh yeah, they do the deed. Yeah, she's really grinding it out with him.
They're grinding.
That's what I'm saying.
That morning, Ruth returns to the. Sorry,
Babe,
that morning.
Start over.
Okay, I am. That morning, Ruth returns for the casting. Sam introduces Salty Johnson, who is there to present the basics of wrestling maneuvers. As the women demonstrate the maneuvers, he starts cutting some on the spot. Ruth, however, makes an early cut. Ruth chats with the Cherokee woman, the woman who said that she was part Cherokee, from yesterday, suggesting that they come up with a backstory, something that is driving them. She says that they have to go above and beyond, though the woman seems confused at best. Yeah. As they get up to perform, Ruth performs a skit about stolen bread.
It's so bad.
It's so bad, and we all knew a theater girl like Ruth, so let's be real. It was very funny. The Cherokee woman's acting is stiff. Sam says he's cutting them both. She argues that with no scenes, they improvised. He says he's feeling generous, asking her why he should pick her over the other girl. She replies that she's a real actress who will work her ass off. The other woman replies that her dad is Goliath Jackson. Many of the others there seem impressed by this, and Sam is too. She comes from a famous wrestling family.
Yeah.
I forgot what the brothers. I
Like
forgot what the brothers' names were, but they're all like they're just like this famous. Even the trainer is like, it's an honor to meet you. Like that's how big like this wrestling family is. Many of the others seemed impressed by this, and Sam is too, saying that Ruth is out. Ruth is amused that he would cut her
Unamused.
Ruth is unamused that he would cut her simply because her dad's a science teacher. He says he doesn't have to justify himself, so she leaves. Later that day, she is accosted by a group of rowdy youths calling themselves the Los Angeles Death Squad. Yeah, they're like 10 years old.
I know, they're like little kids.
They talk trash to her and ruin her taco, then steal her purse and keys. She cries from them to give her keys, but they take off. Late that night, she is picked up by Debbie. Debbie is amused she was jumped by kids, but Ruth replies that they were feral and scary. She curses, and she tells her not to swear in front of her kid, Debbie, but then notes he's a baby, so it doesn't really matter. So it was a funny little joke. She says that she has a spare key to Ruth's apartment. Debbie invites her there for dinner, but she says she has a scene study class. So this is when we learn, because we see on a keychain that the married man that Ruth is sleeping with is actually her best friend's Debbie's husband.
Yep.
At the acting class, a man named Neil falls asleep. She chastises him for falling asleep when she has nowhere else to go. That night, she watches a wrestling match. She dresses up, imagining herself as a wrestler. She practices moves, and then that morning, she returns to the audition in costume, telling him he's wrong about her. She steps in the ring and tosses off her cape and recites a line from the scene study the night before from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
No, it was really funny.
I guess being on Community for so long, she does cringe comedy so well.
Yeah.
Like just fearlessly, like what's her face, Alana Ubach, just like so good at just being being fearlessly cringe, and it works and it just fits. It's so funny. That's when Debbie comes in, shouting at her, asking if she slept with her husband, Mark. Ruth nods, admitting that she did. The two wrestle, and Sam seems into it.
Oh, it's like full-on fighting.
Yeah, he starts imagining them, like, dressed in costumes, in a wrestling ring, fighting each other, when in reality, they're just having, like, a scrappy little fight. Ruth asks if they can go somewhere to talk about it, but Debbie replies that she wants to kick her ass and then never see her again. The two fight. The audience is wondering if it's real or not, which was always the best part. Like, is this real? Or if they should care. The scene becomes an imaginary scenario in which the two are fighting before a live crowd set to music. The crowd is enthralled, but back in the audition, the match is called. Ruth is pinned on the ground by Debbie. And it was funny, the trainer even like did the 1, 2, and that was really funny. So that is Glow. I mean, the show is just, it's so well written, it's so funny, it's so true to the era, like the everything from like the music. I mean, who doesn't love like to go back to the 80s and watch something that's set in the 80s or the 90s? Everyone always loves, we love our nostalgia in this day and age, and it's always great to kind of go back and like we just talked about with the aerobics wear, just kind of go back and be like, oh, I remember when buildings used to be designed that way. I remember when cars used to look like that. I remember when people used to unironically wear like neon colors. And,
I mean, and I look back on 85, I was a junior in high school, so this probably wouldn't have been what I would have been interested in watching.
Mm-hmm.
So, and or probably wasn't home much whenever it was on TV. I was probably out with my friends. But looking back on it, I mean, I just was like, oh yeah, totally remember all of these kind of things. And even like Summer has said she watched Glow when it was on, when she was that age. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like vaguely remember the real Glow. I just knew that it existed, and I always remember the clip, and they kind of portrayed this on the TV show just in a different form, where on live TV, one of the girls actually broke her arm. Oh. And you saw, and so it was live TV, so it was just like, you saw it, and it was just like, I'll show you the image at some point, but I think one of the characters breaks their leg.
Oh, okay.
On the TV show, but it was just like, even though wrestling is choreographed, you have to be athletic to do it, and you have to know you're basically a stunt person. Like, you have to know how to do specific things or you'll break a bone. And so it's just kind of like the reminder that these girls these weren't stunt women. Like, these were just girls that were aspiring actresses, or maybe actresses that hadn't worked in a while, or, you know, someone that just wanted to make money, or someone that just wanted to become famous. Like, it was just that. It wasn't like they were real stunt women, except for, you know, I think they have like one that was a stunt, or two that were stunt women, and Carmen's from a wrestling family. So those are like, that's kind of it. And everyone else was just like, I want to be an actor.
Yeah.
This is a job.
This is for me to get on TV somehow.
I mean, you got to make your money, you got to make your mark. And I don't know if any of those women went on to become famous, but, you know, you can't argue that, like, if you're like, you're an actress, what have you been in? Be like, oh, I was a professional wrestler. Just kind of being like, oh yeah, you kind of have to be an actor. Yeah. Because you have to go to acting school. I learned that because of The Miz, when he started talking about he had to go to acting school. I was like, oh yeah, I guess you have to do that. All right, so we have reached the end of the episode. We have reached the end of the month.
Yes.
And we are going to talk about what you can expect from us in March. So last, what was it, July, we did a month dedicated to British television shows.
Yep.
From the UK, or from specifically Great Britain, United Kingdom. And next month, for the month of March, we are celebrating Irish television.
Yes.
In honor of, obviously, St. Patrick's Day. We just figured we've done the UK. Ireland has some fantastic TV shows, and we are actually getting started on watching those after we record this episode.
Yep.
So we're actually getting
ahead.
We are right on top of that, Rose.
We are right on top of it. Getting ahead for the month.
All right. You think that wraps this one up?
That sounds good to me. This is a short month. I mean, it's only 28 days, so we had to get ahead.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Just for point of reference, we are tired.
Yes.
Especially Anna. I'm fine.
But you've been a little sick, so
yes, yeah. I'm getting over a cold, and this is my first day from working my 14-hour shift on Sunday. So I am tired, but I know you are exhausted.
I know.
We are literally after I hit stop and I'm saving this file, we are getting in bed and we are watching our Irish TV shows.
Yes.
Which we are both very excited about, because I don't think this is going to be a month where we have not seen any of these shows.
None of them.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever really done that before.
Yeah.
So
exciting.
It's going to be fun. All right, that wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at WeJudgePilotPod. We're also on Facebook and Threads. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
All right, I have wrestling, the car, a baby, cereal, the wolf, the queen or the crown, the UK flag, the punk rocker, the one that has the pink hair.
Oh, yeah.
The cherry, the bell, the bomb, bread, the taco, and the purse or the keys. And
there is a wrestling emoji.
There is a wrestling emoji.
That is insane. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's the one like this. That's like their arms are out. Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.